everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, as titled, we are doing Mars in Scorpio, the domicile of Mars. Mars is in its domicile in Mars and in Aries, and it is in its exaltation in Capricorn, which we will be doing after the next video, which will be Mars in Sagittarius. So stay tuned for that one. But today we are doing Mars in Scorpio. And before we begin describing Mars in Scorpio and Mars in Scorpio through the houses, please make sure that you go and subscribe to this channel, and also go subscribe to my yoga channel over here, Yoga with Tino. We have officially established that that's a thing. Go check it out, please. Thank you. And also, please go subscribe to my astrology Instagram page, as well as my TikTok, because I am active on those social media platforms. Yes. And yeah, without further ado, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can begin speaking about Mars and Scorpio. So what is Mars, right? So Mars, as I always say, Mars rules, our intentions, our intentions for doing things. Mars is ruled by the root chakra, which is the chakra of survival and, protection and self-protection and self-preservation. And those are also themes that we see in Mars. And, Mars is our fuel. Mars is, the thing that gives you conviction to go do something. It's really about the intention that you have behind your actions. Mars fuels your actions. Mars fuels the things that you want to do. And how you do those things, that also depends on like your sun sign and all of that shit. But the intention behind why we do the things that we do, that's really Mars. That's Mars energy, And as I always say, if Venus is our love language, and if Venus is our pleasure language and how we give pleasure to other people, Mars on the opposite end is our anger language and how we give aggression to other people, but also our passion language, how you are when you're passionate about something, how you go about getting your goals done. If you like somebody, what I'm saying, that your intention is to get them, because that's going to fulfill a need, a selfish need. And we're all selfish beings at the end of the day. When on the good side and the bad side, like we all have to survive, and Mars rules our survival and how we survive, and the things that we do to survive, and the far extents that will go in order to survive, So, but also that, it's passion, how you passionately just go for the things that you want and what fuels your passions. A lot of the times anger fuels a passion, because you could be passionately angry, but anger and passion really feel the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, they look the same, they feel the same. But I guess passion would be on the lighter side of Mars, and then anger would be the more darker, heavier feelings of Mars. But they all feel the same. It's all a heat. It's all a feeling of hotness, red fieriness, which is what Mars rules. Rules over, rather. And then we have Scorpio over here. Scorpio is ruled by Mars. Scorpio is co-ruled by Pluto. And Pluto and Mars are very similar. It's only like Pluto is OD. Pluto is just extreme. Like, Pluto is the extreme version of Mars. Like, Pluto is what Mars grows up to be, Same with Neptune. Like, Venus grows up to be Neptune. Mercury grows up to be Uranus, just the higher octaves of something. So if Mars is like, passion and feeling for ourselves on a daily basis or on a more routine basis, then Pluto is more so how we feel for ourselves, like for generations to come, like forever and ever type shit, which is why Scorpio is also, not only because they're a water sign do they look at things more longevity, but because they also have Pluto there, and Pluto rules, longevity shit, for generations to come, things that will come later, and how we sustain something for later, but also, how we sustain a desire for a long time, but the contradiction, I don't know, my lights are doing crazy shit too, but the contradiction to that, right, is that because Pluto also rules death and destruction, with death and destruction comes paranoia, because if you, as a Scorpio, right, people who have a lot of Scorpio or Pluto aspects, the reason why these people are paranoid or seem pretty much on edge is because, like, if you're constantly shedding things, And really, the lesson that Pluto is trying to teach all of us is to remind us that nothing lasts forever, and that you shouldn't place your, how do I say this? Don't rely on external support to sustain you and make you feel better and make you feel supported. Pluto is just trying to teach us all to sustain ourselves and remind ourselves that we are really all we need. Like me as myself, like I'm here alone, I'm really all I need, you know? So relying on other people to make me feel comfortable, relying on other people to make me feel supported, Pluto literally destroys that. That's why with Scorpios, whenever, especially like Scorpio placements, they see the death of something because it's like they attach. And also it doesn't make it any better because they're a water sign. And water signs have no other way of guys living life other than to attach to things. So not only so that's why Scorpios go through the most, because it's like they attach to things, but they always see those things that they attach to die. You know what I'm saying? Like they see the death of that, see the death of, you know, intense relationships. They see the death of themselves, you know, past situations that they had an emotional connection to. If they like somebody, something happens and then that situation dies. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just always something that kills that. But Pluto really just tries to teach you to not rely on things to bring you that amount of happiness. You need to be the only thing that makes you happy. You know, do not put that shit on somebody else or something else. Because there's the other thing, right, with the Pluto aspect, is that because Pluto rules extremes, it's black and white. That planet is the planet of black and whiteness. And it's so small. Like, you know what the crazy thing is? Pluto is like such a small celestial body, but the impact is so big, bro. That shit is huge. It's like Mercury in a way. But at least like Mercury isn't necessarily as heavy. And heavy, I mean like the impact of Mercury isn't that heavy. I guess it kind of is, but not heavy in the sense that it's intense like Pluto, you know, because Pluto be OD, as I say, like Jesus Christ, you know. But these small celestial bodies have a lot of impact. They have a lot of punch, and Pluto's the smallest one, but that motherfucker is hard as fuck, bro, you know. So Scorpio being ruled by Pluto, also being ruled by Mars. Mars is also passion, you know, destruction, but war. Maybe not destruction, but war, you know. And then Pluto is the destruction. So if you put those planets together, they literally are like, they're powerful. Scorpio energy is powerful in the sense that it can destroy, you know, it destroys. But if we think about it, in a more like a metaphysical level, everything is destroyed somehow, you know. And the process of destruction is never comfortable. It's not easy. It's not a nice feeling to see something like die or see the transformation of something, especially if you've connected so deeply to something, you know. Like for example, we all know we're all gonna die, but growing up with people that you loved and you formed emotional connections with, and then seeing them die, we all know it's gonna happen, but that shit doesn't feel good, you know. Like that connection is dead now, and it's just, it leaves an impact in you. And that's what Pluto also rules, impact, like heavy, strong, intense impacts. So innately, Scorpios also have the same, you know, energy and the same impact with other people and the things that they have. A lot of things impact them that intensely, and they impact other people just as intensely. And it's always rough, you know, it's always like aggressive because of Mars and also the Pluto energy. So Scorpio energy is essentially very aggressive too because of its rulers. You know, it's also ruled by the 8th house. 8th house rules sex, death, transformations, shared values, you know, the values that you have when you are interacting with other people. You know, inheritance, you know, that's also shared values, when you inherit shit from your parents. And it doesn't have to be just money. It could be literally like you inherit, you know, if your parents smoked, you smoke, then you inherit that habit, you know. It could also be a car. Like if your parents die, you inherit their car. Really anything that you get from your parents that you inherit, that's 8th house shit, you know. It rules the secrets that we have, you know, the things that we hide under our closet that we are aware of, but we don't want other people, especially outsiders, to be aware of, you know. So the 8th house Scorpio energy, it's different from Pisces energy, where Pisces 12th house energy isn't aware of themselves, but other people are aware of them. They're more aware of, you know, what the Pisces 12th house person is like, you know, but they're not aware of everything. They're just aware that there's something going on there, you know. But the Pisces and the 12th house person themselves, they may not be aware of themselves, and they may not be aware of their habits and the way that they really live in everyday life, But the eighth house Scorpio energy, it's very aware of themselves. It's very aware of the patterns that they have. But they hide because they don't want you to be aware of that, because it's a sacred energy, and all the water houses and water signs all about privacy, secrecy, But eighth house energy is more so about like keeping things sacred, because like eighth house, it rules the occult. Scorpio energy, Pluto energy, it's about the occult, taboo subjects, things that are kind of difficult to talk about because once again, they don't feel good. And if you really think about Pluto, Mars energy, these energies aren't energies that like are relatable, which is why it's opposite to Venus energy. Venus is nice. Like we all favor Venus energy. We all, especially on Earth, we all favor Venus energy. Excuse me. We appreciate Venus energy because it feels more better. It's a lot more harmonious to interact with. Excuse me. But Mars, Pluto, 8th house energy, we don't like that shit. As people, we don't like that shit, We don't like it at all, because a lot of, with transformation and death, like it brings us to face the truth of things. And a lot of the times we don't really like the truth because the truth hurts. And Pluto hurts. Pluto is one hurtful motherfucker, But even in its aggression and even in its turmoil, Pluto really just teaches us to learn and always remember that nothing lasts. And as deeply as you can be connected to something, someone, that shit will perish one day. And when it perishes, my dude, it's gonna be painful. But that's just life. That's just life. It deals in harsh realities, you know what I'm saying? And Scorpios are very aware of that shit, And it's hurtful living with that shit. But innately, on the other side of the coin, once you realize that you are a powerful person and all of the shit comes within you, and then you start to really understand and be aware of your power, then that's when Pluto also works in your favor. When you get to transform yourself instead of being transformed by experiences, you know what I'm saying? When you get to realize like, okay, I know I'm fully responsible for making myself feel good. And I know that nothing lasts forever. And I know that I can't really control other people, so I can control myself. See, now you find your power. You know that I can control myself. If something happens, I'm fully responsible for being on top of that shit. Then Pluto starts to work for you. Because then Pluto gives you personal power. And then in that way, you don't look for power from other people, But also at the same time, because Pluto, there's a dark side and a light side to everything. So the darker sides to Pluto is that, greed and, extreme selfishness and just like, what's this, rape and murder. You see all of those gruesome things, like, kidnapping too. Just being forceful, like overly forceful, and having, like, demanding your desires to be met, but then forcing, and not even, like, I'm saying this very lightly, but this is, like, really fucked up, right? If you're raped, somebody raping something, they are literally, like, not giving anybody a choice. And Pluto a lot of the times is, like, an authority and Pluto is like Saturn in the sense that they both, are power hungry. On the more darker sides of these planets, they are power hungry, right? And when you have power, especially with Pluto, when Pluto has power, they don't consider choices from external people. So as I make the example with rape, like if you literally rape somebody, you're not considering how they feel, you're just considering your own desires. And that's the extremeness of Pluto. Like that's really the more darker side of Pluto, even with murder or something like that. You're literally taking away choice and the humanity of somebody else, and just to get your own personal desires met. So on the really darker side, Pluto is just about power struggles. And Scorpios deal a lot with that, power and control issues. Because of the Mars aspect. Because Mars, once again, it's about a selfish planet. It's not relatable. Mars is unrelatable. Mars is all about how I feel, what I want, me. How do I preserve myself? But then the difference between like Aries and Scorpio would be Aries is selfish, but they're not necessarily thinking about how they can make something last for a long time because they still a cardinal sign, so they should be changing. But Scorpio is a fixed sign, and fixed signs we know all about consistency and persistency and looking at something and how to sustain something for the long term, and staying on something for a long time. And then if we add Pluto here, right, and it's also a water sign, so we know water connects to things, and because it's fixed water, it likes to connect to things for a long time. But because Pluto is here, Scorpios want to connect to something for a long time and then control that thing. And because they lack Venus, they don't know how to be relatable. They don't know how to, the only thing that's helping them is that water aspect where they know how to connect to people's emotions, and be emotionally vulnerable and shit, But other than that, bro, they don't know how to relate to people. They be unrelatable. You know what I'm saying? They're not really considering other people's shit unless you was like, if you're a Mars and Scorpio and you have like some Libra placements, then that shit is helping you, If you have what else, like Pisces placements too, that shit is helping you. But just speaking of the Scorpio archetype, like they lack Venus, they lack relatability, they lack the ability to see the beauty in things sometimes, They lack the ability to compromise too, not only because of Pluto, but because they're fixed, and fixed signs are what? Stubborn. Exactly. And when someone is stubborn, they're unwilling to change, But it's also because and this is why Scorpios are just like Aquarius, where they be contradicting. It's because as much as they want to stick to something, like they always switch up. And because they always switch up, it's always like they live in these extremes where it's either they're all there or they're not there at all. Like there's no middle ground. They don't have but if you have Libra energy, then mind you, this shit is helping you at least find the balance in the middle of the gray area. Because just the Scorpio archetype, there's no gray area. It's either you're completely detached or you're completely clingy as fuck. That's it, It's either you're super something or you're super something else. You just live in these extremes, like these extreme polarities, which is why Scorpios also just go through these extreme emotional ups and downs. And when they go through these shits, they want to completely detach so that they can figure it out on themselves, especially if it's something that they learned from like a childhood, Obviously, we all go through this. But people with Mars and Scorpio in general, like your Mars sign is in a really good sign, because it's maybe not like a Venus in Scorpio where this is what you love and appreciate, and then when you are in love, then you get all weird and dark and shit, unless you have this in a conjunction. If you have your Venus in Scorpio conjuncting your Mars in Scorpio, then you OD. Like, you OD in relationships. The way that you love and appreciate shit is like wild, bro. But just speaking for a Mars and Scorpio person, if you have a Mars and Scorpio, like your passions. And mind you, Scorpio is a water sign, right? So water signs are, all, as I said, all about secrecy and keeping things private. So as a Mars and Scorpio person, you like to keep your passions and motivations private. You like to keep your intentions private, And we all know water signs work behind the dark, work in the dark. They work in the confinement of the darkness, So you like to confine all the things that you're passionately invested in. And then the only time you express those passions is when you've emotionally connected with somebody. The only time you really exude your sexual nature, because, Mars rules our sexuality. It rules our sexual drive too. So the only time you exude all of those things, openly and confidently, is if you feel emotionally safe enough, to be vulnerable with somebody, to express that, which is why a lot of the times, like, Mars and Scorpio is like, just like all water signs, they'd prefer to not do the whole hookup thing. Like, hookup culture is not their thing, because they would prefer to have somebody that they can trust and control. Let's just call it what it is. You like people that are willing to bend to you and your needs and your desires, you know what I'm saying? Because if it's honestly, this is something that I have noticed this, is that with Scorpio placements, you guys require somebody, yes, who can hold their own, people who can level head, whatever. But really, you just like people who, kind of bend to your will because of that Pluto aspect, You enjoy people that because what makes you feel comfortable is being in control. What makes you feel emotionally vulnerable is being in control of the situation. Because if you're not in control of the situation, then you feel vulnerable. And then you feel like, well, I don't know what to expect from you, And then you feel more comfortable knowing what to expect, because knowing what to expect gives you the comfortability to control the situation. And maybe it may not even be to control the situation. You just want to be, you want to be ahead, like you want to have the what's upper hand, you know what I'm saying, so that if anything had to happen, like you've already studied the situation and then you know how to control yourself. But it's just, the thing is, if you're emotionally connected to somebody, it's kind of like you see them as an extension of yourself, you know, because the opposite sign to Scorpio is Taurus, and Taurus is the, you know, the sign of possessions, you know. So both of you have that in common, where whenever someone gets close to you emotionally, you kind of see them as an extension of who you are, you know. And the same way you are able to control how your couches are, you know, where the TV is, you feel like because somebody is, you know, emotionally close to you, you feel like you have that same authority against over them, you know. And because obviously when you get close to somebody, you get to study them, so then you know how to use somebody's psychology against them, you know. And this is also on the darker side, but as I say, we're dealing with Scorpio, and this is the dark sign, you know. By dark I mean they live in like internally. Internal signs are dark signs. Water signs are the most internal signs, you know, because all these shits happen inside. It's not like earth, where at least we can see it tangibly. It's not like air. I mean, air we can't really see, but we can feel that shit too. But it's still an external thing. And then fire really expresses everything out. So water is just really the most internal sign. It's the most feminine. You know, and with femininity, because, you know, water also holds memory shit. So you guys have great memories, but it's also just like, because Scorpio is also ruled by Pluto, and you guys are strategic. Because you have the sextile with Capricorn and Virgo, and those are the most strategic signs as well. And you have that sextile to those signs naturally, you know. It's like you like to be emotionally strategic, and it's like for you to guess, you know, be emotionally close to somebody, you would feel like, okay, I have to strategize a way in order for me to keep them. And in order for me to keep them, I feel like I need to be in control of these people emotionally in order for me to feel safe, you know. And I guess this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but because we live on Earth, and Earth is ruled by Taurus, and Taurus is co-ruled by Venus, the Scorpio energy is opposed. It's literally opposing the Earth's vibration. So naturally it's repulsive and it's repulsing, you know. So naturally how Scorpios do things, it's just very opposite to the energy of Earth. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of Scorpios get hatred. Like the Scorpio sign especially is very hated on Earth, you know. Like if we lived on Mars, then that would be different. I think like Libra would be the most hated sign, you know. Libra would be the sign that we like, oh, I hate that. But we live on Earth now, you know. Yeah, Libra and Taurus. But we live on Earth. And this sweet, beautiful Venusian, co-ruled Venusian, co-ruled by Venus planet, you know, requires love and appreciation, you know, and beauty and art and shit. But it's met with the scorpionic Pluto heaviness and Mars and aggression. And we just don't like that as people. We're obsessed with it because, you know, opposites attract. You know, and with the opposition, it's always just like a fascination, because it's like, oh my God, why are you like that? You know, so that's why Mars and Scorpio people, like, you will naturally, what's the word? It's either people are extremely fascinated by you or they're completely repulsed by you. You know, and that's speaking for all people with Scorpio placements, you know. It's either or, also because Pluto deals with extremes. So even with you, you either like somebody a lot or you don't fuck with them, like, under any circumstances, you know what I'm saying? Mars and Scorpio type people. But as I was saying, is that with Mars and Scorpio, these people, you guys, like, you conceal all your passions. You conceal all your sexual energy. You conceal Mars type shit. You know, you conceal your emotional vulnerabilities. Excuse me. You know, and like all Scorpio energy. Oh, wow. Excuse me, guys. But with all Scorpio energy and water sign energy, you know, you guys like to, in order to protect, you know, your vulnerability and protect all the shit that you have internally, you play, or you like to hang up this facade, you know. And this facade is the thing that's kind of like protecting everything that's happening, you know, in the behind the scenes type shit. You know, because also when you guys get angry, I've noticed, like, you don't really show it, immediately, unless somebody's like, I don't know, because you could be with an air sign, like you could be with a Gemini moon like me, and I'm just talking whatever, like I'm not really thinking about what I'm saying, I'm just talking my shit, because I'm ruled by Mercury, so I'll be talking, and I may not necessarily think about what I'm saying. I'm talking for all air signs, or really anybody that is, I guess, oblivious to words or whatever. So you could be with for example, let's say I'm talking to whoever's watching this video. Let's say we're chatting. I'm a Gemini moon, and I'm just talking, right? Whatever. But I'm not really conscious of what I'm saying. If something that I say triggers you, you're either gonna come quickly. And most of the time, the quick comebacks come from if you studied me, so you kind of know, like you have the upper hand to know what to say to me to trigger me back, right? Or you'll keep it to yourself, like you literally but you won't show that you got angry, you won't even show that you got offended, but inside it might be burning the shit out of you, right? But you won't show it because you're gonna seem cool, calm, collected. You're gonna seem like your opposite sign, Taurus, super cool, calm, collected. You might, if I talk shit, you might even join on and add on, just to see how far I'm gonna go. And even if I was a Gemini, I'm a Gemini moon, and even if, let's say, I said something to deliberately hurt your feelings, just for you to protect yourself, you won't necessarily react in a way that'll give me the satisfaction to know that you got offended. What you gonna do with your Pluto ruled ass, with your Mars ruled ass, is hold on to that, because as I say, water signs hold on to shit. They remember things, right? So you're gonna remember what I said. You're gonna remember what I said, how I said it. And then at the right moment, because you guys, once again, you're strategic. You're sextile signs of Virgo and Capricorn. So you're going to wait for the right time. For the right time to get me back. And then either A, you're going to use my own words against me. But then the way that you say it, that shit's going to be OD. That shit's going to be platonic. So it's going to make me feel, oh, whatever revenge you get, you see, if it's like, because also water signs are the reflector, right? So they reflect you onto you. So Scorpio is also going to reflect you onto you. They're going to reflect your darkness onto yourself. But because they're influenced by Pluto, and Pluto, once again, is an OD planet. They overdo everything. They overdose. They overdramatic. Okay? So when Scorpio reflects you onto you, they OD with that shit, So that's why when they get revenge, or when they start to strike back, they're not like Aries, because the light side of Mars would be Aries, is to attack quickly. Because Aries is like the quick sign, it's a fire sign. It's going to express it. Scorpios won't do that shit. They're just gonna make you feel. They're gonna make you feel the thing. They're gonna make you feel it because they deal with water signs, so they deal with the emotions. So they're gonna make you feel that shit, But how they make you feel that is backed up with Pluto energy. So it's backed up with intensity. So when they make you feel that shit, because how they felt it was intense, how everything that they receive, everything that Scorpio energy receives is intense. Because of that Pluto 8th house energy, it literally, and because they're a water sign as well, and water sign, we know, are very sensitive motherfuckers, So when they felt that, as a Gemini moon, if I'm talking shit, the way that they received that was intense. So the way that they're gonna make me feel that shit is also gonna be intense. So they're gonna make me receive it in a plutonic way, in an intense way, and that's just how it is. And it's gonna be aggressive also because of Mars. Because Mars is there, and we know Mars is an aggressive sign. It's a very red hot planet. But also, if it ever comes to, if for Mars and Scorpio people, if it ever comes to, a place where they have to fight, they're also gonna OD. Honestly, however, because as I say, Mars rules your intentions and the fuel that you have to do things. So they are fueled by their memories. Mars and Scorpio. Yo, wow. It's just, the Scorpio energy always makes my Gemini moon laugh, bro. My Virgo sun gets it, but my Gemini moon is just wow, it's not even that deep, bro. But it really is for you guys, But anyway, as I was saying is that, what was I saying? I forgot. Okay, no. Okay, so as I was saying is that with Mars and Scorpio, right? you guys are fueled by, because it's a water sign, so you guys are fueled by memories, emotions, what you're emotionally connected by. And then because it's also Mars, like, you're fueled by your own, like, intention. You're fueled by your own it's like you develop reasons for why you want something, right? And then you think about how you can sustain that shit for a long time, and then that fuels you. And then what also fuels you is thinking about how to, like, sustain it, and the how you can study something in order to be, I guess, what's this, very smart enough to equip, I guess, to sustain whatever it is that you need, right? And then also thinking about how that's gonna help you, how it's gonna personally help you, that fuels you also. But I say emotions fuel you because, like, something makes you mad, you're gonna internalize that, and then you can, like, use that as fuel to, like, to help you fuel other, passions that you have. So if you're passionate about music and someone hurts your feelings, you'll use those emotions, fuel it up with your own passion and anger, and then use it and direct it to your music and make super dope music. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Scorpio energies, when you guys decide to do something, you want to do it perfectly, because you also have that sextile to Virgo, you know what I'm saying? So you also want to do it perfectly, and then you want to be the best at it because of that Pluto, and Pluto rules extreme, so you want to be extremely good at that shit, you know what I'm saying? And then it just doesn't satisfy you to be mediocre, which is also a good thing, but it's a bad thing a lot of the times, especially if you have, like, a Scorpio stellium with the shit, it's like a bad thing, because it's also just like, bro, like, why can you just never do something lightly? And then you'd be like, guys, I don't know how to do anything lightly, bro. Everything about me is OD, my dude. Like, what do you mean? But it is what it is, guys. It is what it is, but yeah, that's something that can, like, I don't know, be bad for you, but I guess you guys learn how to work with it, But if you have, like, Gemini placements, you have, like, Aries placements with this could actually help you express a lot of your pent up anger a lot of the times, because Scorpio, water signs, they just suppress shit. They're not like fire signs where they hold on to it, and then when it eventually comes out, it's OD. It's O fucking D, bro. Like, it's wild, bro. But yeah, that's Mars and Scorpio, guys. These guys are super strategic also, and they're very hungry for really getting their passions met and seeing that shit come to, fruition. Because one thing about Pluto also, it's like a black hole. Scorpio energy is like it's literally a like, Scorpio rules our genitals, and because Scorpio is a feminine sign, so we ascribe Scorpio energy to vaginas, pussies, and then Aries energies to a dick, So if you think about a vagina, that shit is literally a black hole, and it literally absorbs things, and it's powerful too. That should be powerful, right? We birth things, and also that's why if you think about period pain and the pain of periods, and then Scorpios also going through agonies and shit, it's literally the same. Like, that whole, and giving birth, that shit is painful. So you can, as a Scorpio Mars, you can also ascribe that. Like, if you're a guy, just ask a girl what she goes through when she's on her period, or ask your mom what she went through when she gave birth, because that pain of transformation, that pain of, like, literally killing your vagina to give birth to something else, to give birth to a whole human, that shit is painful. That's the pain of Pluto, but it's the power of the P. It's pussy power, So Scorpio energy is literally pussy power, bro. It's like literally a vagina. Like, Scorpio energy is an actual vagina, And just think about how, like, taboo even showing your private parts are. Maybe not so much for guys, because I guess guys literally flash that shit just for fun. Like, if you think about guys and how they used to, like, they gather in circles to show off their penises, that's some airy shit, isn't it? That, because no female, like, as females, we don't gather and, like, say, oh my god, I really like how your clit looks like, unless we're dating each other, or unless it's a slumber party and we're having one of those nights. But even as a Scorpio Mars, it doesn't make you feel comfortable. You know why? Because it's still a water sign. And water signs are private, and they only show off their privacy to people that they're emotionally connected to. But I'm just saying, like, as women, we don't really gather and show our pussies. Like, that's fucking weird. But it's weird because it's a taboo to us, and taboos are ruled by the 8th house and Pluto shit. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So, You see that analogy? It's like perfect, actually. It's perfect, you know. So yeah, as I was saying, as a Mars and Scorpio, you guys do be very sexual. It's just very hidden. You guys are very, very sexual, especially if the shit is in the 8th house, you know. Especially if it's in the 8th house, then it's also like, it's hidden, bro. Your sexuality is hidden. A lot of what you're passionate about, you don't like to talk to people about that, you know, because you're also very superstitious in the sense that you feel like, oh, if I tell people, I'm gonna jinx that shit. And it's true though, especially because, you know, it's a water sign, and you're meant to, as a Scorpio Mars, you're meant to keep your passions hidden. You're meant to hide what you're passionate about. You're supposed to hide your sexuality. And if you're not, like, you fucked up, bro. Like, you're not working with your water sign energy. You're not working with your Mars Scorpio energy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if anybody made you feel bad for doing that, don't even listen to them, because you're meant to. Water signs are meant to hide. Whatever water placement, especially if it's in a water house, whatever is in your water houses, guys, you're supposed to hide, bro. It's meant to be hidden. And you'll also feel weird if you express it to other people, you know? Like, there'll be this guilt feeling that you have when you express it to other people, or even resentment for yourself for that moment of like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that, you know, just regret and shit. So keep that shit hidden, you know. But even the way, like, because as I was saying, because Scorpio is basically like a black hole, so whenever it has a desire, and because it's a feminine sign, and feminine energy, you know, attracts, it brings in, it manifests, you know, I guess what seduces, especially with Scorpio, because, you know, so Scorpio sign is the sign of the seduction, you know, dark femininity and all those siren vibes, you know what I'm saying, all that shit. So with Mars and Scorpio, you know, like, once you have a desire, you literally bring it in. Like, you intensely bring that shit in, which is also why, like, you walk, because, like, with a Mars and Scorpio, you're basically an example of what desires are, you know. So a lot of times when people get jealous of you, when they get mad at you just for existing, you know what I'm saying, because you have that energy and you get attention, also weird attention, you know, some weird perverted stalker people. I mean, you get that, definitely you get that, you know. But, like, the jealousy comes from, you know, I guess other women, especially, you know, because women, I don't know why we do this. We get super jealous of another woman because, you know, we feel like she has power and we don't have that, you know. But that happens, you know, just because I said that, like, other women feeling like they don't have the same power that you do, you know, and you are an example of pussy power. Like, with a Mars and Scorpio, you literally are pussy power. You are the P. Like, you are P. You push P every day because you are P. Scorpio is a fucking Scorpio. I mean, Future is a Scorpio, you know. So when you're saying pushing P, like, it's Pluto energy. You're pushing power, bro. So you're an example of what power looks like. So people who feel like they don't have power, or people who feel like they don't have, you know, self-control, they get jealous of you because of that, you know. But it's also just, as I said, the Scorpio energy, it's opposite to Taurus, the Earth energy. So you guys naturally just get met with hate regularly because of their weirdly opposition, you know. But that's also why you're so intriguing, and everybody is obsessed with you guys, and we all love to hate you guys, you know. Excuse me. But also we love to hate you because you don't really have Venus energy, so you're hard to relate to. So it's a whole bunch of shit. Like, you get it. It's a whole bunch of things, you guys, you know. But that's really you guys. Mars and Scorpio, super powerful people, extremely loyal people, you know. They're just very controlling. Like, once you've connected with them, they want to control the connection. Just like Cancers. They want to control the connection that they have with you. Because to them, even though they won't say it out loud, it just doesn't sit well that you could have, like, free will. And they don't have control over your actions, you know, and not having control makes them feel uncomfortable. And I know this, guys. I know. Not controlling people's actions or manipulating people's actions, because that's manipulation is really just another form of control too, you know, whether it's good or bad, you know. And that's why you could also be overly protective, because then you'd also just feel like, my baby, you could really decide that you want to do something that would make me feel threatened emotionally. So I'd rather just manipulate you so that you think of things that I would think of so that I'm comfortable in this relationship, you know. So in that sense, you're also really selfish, like, but just like Aries, you know, just more Aries is very obvious and open about it, you know. But at the same time, maybe as a Mars and Scorpio, also learn from the sign next to you, Sagittarius, to be a lot more open about it, you know, because a lot of the times when people hate your guts, So to just feel, they also just feel like, there's a lot going on in you and you don't really share that, and it's also just like, okay, there's no connecting with you if you don't know what's going on with you, so it's hard to love you in the sense that, like, you don't make it easier to love you, because it's like someone has to go through trials and tribulations to just get to know something so simple about you, and it's just like, well, fuck, bro, like, why, so just learn from Sagittarius, like, sometimes, especially when you're emotionally connected to somebody, like, learn to just be more open, more vulnerable with that shit, and without feeling disgusted in yourself or like weird about being so vulnerable, and about simple things. Like, a Scorpio will literally hide the fact that their favorite color is pink, just because they'll feel like, nah, that shit is weak. Why do you have to know my favorite color? Then they get paranoid about it, because they'll be like, oh, now you know my favorite color. What if you use this against me and then buy me pink flowers thinking that you'll make me happy? Ganti, those pink flowers are poison and then you kill me. And it's just like, wait, what? How did you get there? But you know why? It's because of Pluto. And the other P that Pluto gives you is paranoia. Pluto gives you power, it gives you pleasure, and it gives you paranoia, bro. Oh my god, oh gosh. Yo, Pluto needs to chill, hey? Ish. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's Mars and Scorpio. That's Mars and Scorpio for you guys. So yeah, now that we've discussed Mars and Scorpio, we're gonna go talk about Mars and Scorpio through the houses, right? So let's begin with Mars and Scorpio in the first house. So first house, we know, deals with your personality, your personal interests, things that are personally connected to you, and things that you personally identify with, things that personally resonate with you, and how you interact with yourself, So having Mars here, Mars loves to be in the first house, and Mars also fucks with Scorpio, because it's another Mars rule sign. So here, having a Scorpio rising, if you're part of like the 1980s generation, so then your rising would conjunct your Mars and your Pluto. So you would have Mars, Pluto, all up in your first house. So these are the super intimidating guys, like very intimidating guys. Like with you could literally be in the happiest mood. You could literally be the sweetest, happiest person on that day. But regardless, my guy, because Pluto is there, and Pluto, once again, Pluto and Mars, unrelatable signs. Pluto and Mars are aggressive. Pluto and Mars are, feisty and fiery. So naturally, that's the aura you personally exude to people. So regardless of who you are, like, let's say you have really nice sun and moon. Like, let's say your sun is like, I don't know what's really I don't want to say Cancer, because nah. No ways. I actually don't know. Like, let's say I don't know. Okay, let's say you're a Gemini sun with like a Gemini moon with like a Taurus Venus and like your Mercury's in Cancer, and yeah, you see, like, those are kind of softer planets, like softer signs, You just having like your rising and your Mars and your Pluto all in Scorpio, it's gonna cancel out all those nice planets, bro. Because Scorpio is loud. It's Pluto. Pluto is loud as fuck, and not in expression like Leo. Like, Leo is loud outwardly. It's just Scorpios are loud internally. So it's like an internal, secret, silent dominating aura that you exude out, whether you know it or not, which you probably do because you've experienced, people hating you for no reason, or people being utterly obsessed with you for no reason, So you obviously gathered the information that, oh, okay, it's just something I carry. I got that goo. I have that Pluto goo in me, that Mars goo in me, Scorpio goo in me. So then you realize, like, okay, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter how I say it, it's just always going to be intense, and it's always going to seem like this, whether I like it or not, But on one end, right, having Mars in your first house, like, it just amplifies you being selfish, really. But you become even more determined to get your personal needs met, And it's also just really difficult for you to, I guess, connect with other people's personal needs, because you'll be the type of person to be like, yo, brah, you should figure it out on your own. Like every man for themselves. Even though, like, you know, I mean, you're a Scorpio, so you be helpful sometimes, you know, but you'll just feel like, especially if you with like Libra types who kind of need second opinions from other people, like you'll just be like, bro, what do you think? Like, what are you passionately invested in? What do you passionately desire? You know, because you're very much aware of your personal desires, and when you have a desire personally, you plot, you strategically plan, you use all your sexual energy to, you know, manifest that shit intensely, you know. And you're not somebody who questions what you want, because essentially whenever you have a desire, because you're a water sign, you connect to that desire and then you wield it in intensely. You know what I'm saying? But it also makes you, like, obviously very intuitive intensely. So you're able to see, like, you know, when other people are lying about who they are and, you know, the person that they're showing themselves to be. So you're very aware of connecting to other people's personal intentions as to why they're interacting with the world or with you. You're able to connect with other people's hidden intentions in that sense, you know. But it's like, you know how to hide your own personal intentions. Like, whatever it is that you desire personally, you know how to hide that shit, you know. You definitely know how to hide that shit. And also self-transformation, like, especially if this shit is conjuncting your Pluto, bro, like, you just went through a lot of ups and downs personally. So personally, you're paranoid. You're paranoid about sharing yourself with other people. You're paranoid about sharing, you know, your emotions with other people who are not close to you personally and who you can't personally control, you know. So then if you can't do that, then it leaves you feeling vulnerable, and vulnerability also makes you paranoid, you know. So that'll send you leaving. That'll send you, like, out, you know. But yeah, Mars in Scorpio in the first house, you just be very passionate about yourself, you know. I feel like you definitely somebody who knows, even in those times where Pluto puts you through the dirt, through the mud emotionally, like, you know how to transform out of that, and you know how to birth, like, a new you. Especially to all those kids who, definitely, obviously we're an emo kid with this, you know, and you probably just grew up in that emo phase for the rest of your life, with, as all Scorpios do, as all fucking Scorpios do, you know. No new shit here, you know. But it's like, even in the time Pluto puts you through the dirt, you know how to, like, take those experiences and let them feel you personally, you know. So in that sense, you become personally powerful, you know. You are like the embodiment of Pluto and Mars, you know. So you're just an unstoppable force, you know. It's just the only thing that would, like, you know, be like the little ick, is that you just are fearful of connecting to things that don't match, you know, your personal intensity. You don't like things that don't match your personal intensity, because personally you're chaotic. Like, when people get to know you for real, they're, you know, you're personally very chaotic, you know what I'm saying? Like, aggressive, kind of a lot to be around, you know. And that's just who you are, and because you're a fixed sign, like, that shit's not gonna change. So you kind of just make people who are in your personal life deal with that shit. You know, it is what it is, bro. But yeah, that's Mars and Scorpio in the first house, guys, you know. Yeah, let's move on to Mars and Scorpio in the second house now. So Scorpio, Mars, fucking horrible place. Mars hates being here. Pluto hates being in the second house. They have beef. They don't like each other. Ew, gag, vomit, bye. Right? But Mars and Pluto have to do what they have to do, you know? Because we all have places that we don't like to be, but we have to do what we have to do. So with Mars in Scorpio in the second house for Libra risings, right? You guys... Okay, so second house represents your possessions, you know, the things that you have, the things that you own, material possessions, tangible things, your value systems, and how you use your materials to support your self-esteem, you know. So the materials, like, kind of being materialistic, like that second house vibes. So having Mars in Scorpio in the second house, so these are the people that become extremely possessive. Like, I mean, listen, Scorpio energy, you're gonna be very protective. I think Scorpio energy is more so territorial, and then the Taurus energy is more so possessive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you bitch, you're mine. Because I guess Tauruses aren't necessarily controlling, unless they have other Virgo placements, Capricorn placements. You know what I'm saying? Cancer placements. Oh my god. But I think Tauruses aren't necessarily, like, controlling. They're just possessive. Like, you're mine. Scorpios are controlling, but Scorpios aren't the natural archetype of Scorpio. Maybe isn't necessarily possessive. They're just more so territorial, and then controlling of your actions. But we could, I don't know. You guys may fight me and say that you are more possessive. I don't know. I don't know. I guess territorial and possessive are like synonyms in the sense. But having Mars and Scorpio in the second house, oh yeah, that shit will make you possessive. That shit will definitely you become possessive over your emotions, right? You become extremely possessive over your emotions and over the things you're passionate about. But it's also a situation where with having Mars in the second house, period, this makes you somebody who feels like you need to have material goods and materials. And I think with Scorpio here, you would feel like you need to have material like money and a house and all of these things in order to control all your other possessions, especially if it's people. So then you would feel like, okay, in order for me to keep this relationship happening, I have to have money so that I can control my partner with my money and be like, okay, you're not doing that. Well, I'm not going to give you money, bitch. Because I know Tauruses do that shit. Like, oh, you're not doing this for me? Okay, well, I'm not going to give you money. So on the darker side, you guys can do that shit. But also because Mars doesn't like being in the second house, because it also just feels like in order to have and sustain a passion, it has to have materials in order to support it. Whereas Mars just wants to feel supported by its own energy and its own passion. And it's like now you passionate about getting materials, you're passionate about getting money, you're passionate about being rich, and that's not a bad thing, especially right now in this economy that we live in. That favors, materials and money so much. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But you definitely feel more supported by having money, especially money, but also a person, because people are possessions. Ooh. People are possessions, people are tangible things. So also with this, I feel like with Mars and Scorpio in the second house, like it makes you even more up to be in a relationship with somebody, because not only then can you share each other's values, but then you can own them, and then they support you. Like they support you being passionate, and then they're the only one that know how aggressive and violent shit that you are, but it makes you feel safe knowing that, okay, at least there's one person, or there's like two people in my life that I have, aka have, that I can express and show my emotions that I have. But also at the same time, I feel like this also makes you value your Scorpion energy. Like having Scorpio Mars in the second house. Also, if you have Pluto in the second house, same shit. Like it makes you just value having material. Like it makes you passionate and also obsessive about having money. You become extremely money hungry with this placement. But your sensuality is also OD. Like you be OD sensual with this, and you're also a Libra rising. So I don't doubt that you are very sensual, because Libra is Venusian and all that shit. So I don't doubt that you're very, very sensual, very sexual, And then also you also might attract people that see you as property, and then they want to do this shit to you, like they want to own you. Like they want to own you and make you their sex slaves or some shit like that. It may not be like that crazy, but it could be. You know what I'm saying? Because when you fucking with Scorpio, we dealing with the darkness. We're dealing with dark taboo shit. So it could be that situation where you value darkness. You could also value other dark people. You value other intense people. You value other people that have intensity, that have like a controlling streak about them. You value other people that are somewhat controlling and possessive and intense, because you can relate to that energy because you are like that yourself. And then it doesn't make you feel so awkward and so weird about being that way. And then you don't have to feel like you have to hide so much, so you can value people who are just like that. But yeah, Mars does not like the second house. Mars is just like, whack, hate it, want to go home. I want to go back to the house before, But yeah, that's Mars in Scorpio in the second house, You guys are just, passionate about gaining materials, and the way that you gain materials could be in very dark ways. You could manipulate people to give you money, or you could be manipulated to give money to other people, but the old possessions of get a car or whatever, but the themes around buying people or someone buying you materials, money, luxury. Very thematic with Mars in Scorpio in the second house, So now we're gonna move on to Mars in Scorpio in the third house. So we know third house deals with, your friends, your siblings, anything that you're familiar with, how you interact to the world around you or the environment around you, and how you learned to react. It also rules the skills that you learned, from a young age, aka writing is a skill, So talking is a skill, what I'm saying? Washing dishes is a skill that we all learned from a young age, and then we became familiar with, So having Mars and Scorpio in your third house, these are people. And also, third house also rules communication, as I say. But having Mars and Scorpio in your third house for Virgo, Virgo rising. So, okay, I feel like with this placement, it makes you very aggressive in your communication. Like the way that you interact with people, the way that you talk with people, very aggressive. And you the type of person, especially with the Virgo. Ooh, shit, man. Oh, shit, man. Fuck. Like whenever you talk, like anything that you say, it's either extremely passive. Also, I need to say that. It's either extremely passive, But even in that passiveness, like there's always a streak of aggression, babes. Because when we fucking with Mars, I'm sorry, sweetie, we can't hide away from that. We cannot hide away from the fact that Mars is aggressive as fuck, So having Mars and Scorpio in your third house, it does make you somebody who's like very honest in your expression, But your honesty, very aggressive, very ouch. I'm pretty sure you've heard the word ouch a lot of the times when you talk to people. Or you've like seen, that expression when people get when they feel offended. Like you've seen that a lot of times in your life, bro. Like that's something that you're very familiar with, seeing people react that way to you, And especially your Virgo rising, so you're already ruled by Mercury. And if you have your Mars and Scorpio conjuncting your Mercury in Scorpio, bruh. Bro, when you start getting mad, because when you get mad, it also comes into your throat chakra, because third house is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the third chakra and how we communicate. So like the first, like one of your other retaliations before you get physical is to use your words to really sting somebody. And you're already a Virgo rising, and Virgo also lacks Venus energy. It also lacks relatability. So you just start to criticize, like, because you're rising with sextile your Mars, and then the signs is Virgo and Scorpio. So your retaliation is to read the fuck out of somebody, like psychoanalyze somebody, read them, and then criticize them. And then if it has to get to the physical side, because third house also rules hands and shit, the skills that we have with our hands. So you could be very skilled and extremely skilled with using your hands to fuck with somebody, you know what I'm saying? But also like when you speak, like your hand gestures could also insinuate that you're about to do something violent, like, because it's one thing for like Leo, when Leos communicate, like I'm a Virgo Gemini moon, so I also naturally use my hands to talk shit, but it's not necessarily aggressive. I don't have Aries or Scorpio placements, but when you speak, like even if you had to do this, somebody might even feel triggered, like, oh my god, are you about to hit me, because of that violence. Like Mars and Pluto rule violence, bro. They rule violence. So when you start using your hands, it can even be a situation like when you get angry, like that's when your hands start to jump up and down, and this shit. You start to do that, like, but that only happens when you're mad. It could be that situation. But also on the other side, like you're very obsessed with learning about shit, and depending on the house lord of your third house, like you'd be very obsessed with learning specific topics. Like if you have your third house lord in the fourth house, for example, then you could be obsessed with learning about like the psychology of family and why families have the dynamics that they have. You're an obsessive learner. And you like, especially at school, you really enjoyed being like the top achieving student. You may have been like the super quiet one, but it depends though, because if you have like maybe a Leo sun with this shit, you were probably like, you were aggressively trying to be funny, you know what I'm saying? Because also Leos also just, they do too much. Leos do a lot. Hey, they do a lot, bruh. But just like you, like Scorpios are like Leos, but Scorpios are like the more introverted Leos, But even if you are Leo, like whatever sign that you have in your sun sign, like you just enjoy learning, and you wanted to be the best at whatever it is that you were studying, Even with university, you probably one of the people that really enjoy like studying. So when you start to hear people telling you about how much they are going at university, how much university is literally You know how much college is, you just be like, okay, I can't relate really. And that's the thing, you're not really a relatable person because all the things that people like doing, you probably hate. You hate being familiar with the shit that people love being familiar with, and then everything that people don't like fucking with, that's what you fuck with, you know. So even with that situation, like if people at your school are just like, yo guys, yo, this test was hectic, you'd be like, what? Not for me. You know, that type of thing, because you be unrelatable in that sense, you know. But that's just you, bro. But really, you are passionate about learning. Like you're also a sapiosexual, like super smart with this placement, and like you're extremely smart, but you don't necessarily like to show it because you still be passive, you know. But you also, when you talk, it's very passionate. You're a passionate communicator, you know, very passionate communicator. And you don't like other people who like you wouldn't like somebody like me. Like I talk out of my ass sometimes what I say does not make any sense. Like, and yeah, I'm a Virgo sun, but sometimes like I have a Neptune in my first house, so I don't really be making sense sometimes. You would literally hate being like, you don't like that type of shit sometimes, but you know, you may not always be reactive to it because as I say, Scorpio energy is either very passive or very, you know, obvious with that shit. So if you get around somebody like me, hearing me talk shit, you may not say something. You may just look at me and be like, and then, you know, move on. But the day you decide to let me know what's on your mind, I'm not gonna like it. I'm definitely not gonna like it at all. You know, but then you'll just feel like, yeah, I had to learn, I had to hear that, you know. And then in that sense, you'll transform me, and you'll transform the way that I think and communicate, you know, because Scorpio will transform people. There will be transformation, you know what I'm saying. But I think your love of you know, studying may have come from you like sucking at studying at some point, and then you just became obsessed with studying because you wanted to be the best, you know. Either way, bro, whatever background you came from, you become very obsessed with studying things, you know. So that's this placement. Yeah, shit. And then we're gonna move on now to Mars and Scorpio in the fourth house, right? So fourth house deals with your family members, you know, your domestic life, your childhood, you know, the themes around your childhood, the emotional things that you're connected to from your childhood, you know, your family members, you know, your mom, specifically your mom, and how your mom raised you, and the emotional systems and teachings that your mom taught you, you know. So having Mars and Scorpio in the fourth house as a Leo rising, woo child. I think we should just take a moment for you guys, because not only was your mom just very mean, shit, not only was she just very selfish, not only was your mom just violent, oh my god, no, I feel it. Not only was she just mean, but she was very overly protective. I mean, aggressively overly protective. I already know. Having Mars, because already Mars does not like being in the fourth house, and then you have Scorpio, and the fourth house does not fuck with Scorpio either, even though it's making a trine to that energy, you know. It's still not Ioba, bro, because Pluto is there, you know. And having Pluto, it's the same with Pluto in the fourth house, babe. So you've got, and don't let you have Pluto conjuncting your Mars all in the fourth house. Oh my god. No, because now your mom also raised a narcissist. I'm sorry to say, I'm pretty sure Liwena, it like you, because you know, we eventually soak up traits of our parents. So you, in some ways, you're like your mom. Because I know your mom was a fucking narcissist with it. She was a crazy bitch with it. Okay, maybe let me not say it, because that's mad disrespectful. But I'm really just talking to a camera right now. I am. But I already know your mom was just wild. Just wild. I'm pretty sure she also came from a family of distress and ups and downs, you know. But this placement, I don't wish this placement on anybody, you know. But here's the thing. Okay, with this placement, it just makes your emotions are very intense. It just amplifies your emotions, you know. And it's a double whammy in the sense that you hide all your emotions. You hide all your anger. Nobody knows when you're angry. The only people who know when you're angry are the people that you live with, the people that you go home to every day. The things that you go home to every day, those are the only people that know that you're angry. You know? Like, you take your anger out on your family members, but it's also a situation that your mom also took her anger out on you guys, on her family. So then that taught you to do the same thing. Don't show how you feel to the public, because the opposite sign of the opposite to the 4th house is the 10th house. So your mom probably showed you, or you probably learned that trait from your mom, not to express how you feel, in the public. Just rather hold it in and take it out on the people that love you the most. Ooh, shame, So it's also a situation in that sense where you could also fear getting too close to people, even though that's something that you desire. Like, you really desire to have a family and shit like that. But it's just like, ooh, girl, your temper. My God, your temper. Your anger. That shit is OD. And it's always directed to your family members, And if for example, if someone from the public, like if somebody that you didn't know disrespected you, like, you could also be the type to hold it in and only take it out on your family members or the people that you're close to. But if your family members encouraged you, to, I guess, wild out on people and give everybody that disrespects you a piece of your heart, then that's what you'll do, But I know for a fact, like, a lot of the time, because my dad also has a Sag Mars in, like, 3 degrees, like, what's 6 degrees? 3 degrees, right? So it's like, look, it literally just came out of Scorpio, and it's in the 4th house, and he is a Leo rising. And I know for a fact, like, when he's angry, like, the few times he's taken his anger out on other people was if I was disrespected, like if his family members were disrespected. So in that sense, like, if people that you're emotionally close to are disrespected, because it's still the 4th house dealing with family, so that's the only time you'll wild out on somebody, But other than that, all your anger is directed to the people that you live with. Like, and the outside world, they probably, and I know for a fact, like, because you know how to hide yourself in the public, people will just think, oh, wow, Tom is so chill. I've never seen Tom angry. And maybe they'll be like, the only time I've ever seen him angry was when Tom's sister was slapped by that one guy or that one girl. Then Tommy slapped the girl that slapped her sister. That's the only time that people will ever say that they've seen you angry. But other than that, never. But if we ask your family, yes, says they have stories, they have story time, they have files, videos, voice notes, all that shit, memories. But it's also on you. Like, you've been mostly traumatized by your family members. Like, that's really it. You mostly traumatized about your family members. But because the 4th house is it's basically like a second moon. You just have intense emotions, bro, but you just literally are not comfortable with expressing them. And then when you do express them, it's because you formed an emotional closeness with somebody, and you were able to study somebody and, kind of get to emotionally connect with them and get closer to them. And then you were like, okay, we're connected now. Let me show you the truth. And if you're a guy with this, yes, sis. Because then you also really don't know how. But you know what? It's both. Bruh, it's both. To be honest, this shit is both. So yeah. It's both. It's basically like having a Scorpio moon. It's basically the same thing, So yeah. That's the vibes, Just go to therapy. But I know you're probably very uncomfortable with opening to people that you're not close to. So I know that's probably not going to happen. But just go, bro. For your own sake, for your family's sake. Because I also know with this, like, your family members also just want to run away from you. And then you'll get mad at that. You'll get mad that they're not emotionally connecting with your anger also. So then you'll feel betrayed in that way. And then you might be the one that's just like, I don't want to be with any one of you guys. And then you leave before they leave you. And then you live a life of loneliness. So just go to therapy, bro. Just try it out, bro. That's my advice to you. So anyway, with that being said, we're going to move on now to Mars in Scorpio in the 5th house, right? 5th house rules your your fun, your enjoyment, your entertainment, how you entertain yourself, your hobbies, things that you do for fun. It also rules romance and like casual dating. Excuse me, lighthearted dating, the honeymoon stages of a relationship, all that shit that we love. Everything that makes us feel good, man. Just that good feeling. It's similar to Venus energy, really. It's very similar to Venus energy. So having Mars and Scorpio in the fifth house, this is definitely something. This is a Scorpio for this is Cancer rising. So this is definitely somebody who's super passionate about expressing themselves. And I know, I know a chick who has a Scorpio sun and moon, and she has a Cancer rising, and like the way that she dresses is super like colorful, even though she's very dark inside. I know she has a dark personality, but the way that she orchestrates her clothing, her outfits, super colorful. Like I'm pretty sure even her room, like super cute, like super like fairy vibes. And I feel like with Mars and Scorpio in the fifth house, it's the same. You guys express yourself very colorfully, and maybe it could have been a thing where you feel like, okay, the way that I express myself may come across as dark. So let me, I guess hide in the color. Let me hide in the colorful clothes and, I guess hide the darkness through the color, that type of thing. I feel like that's really what it is. I think that's why she does that. But with this, definitely you become very passionate about expressing yourself, because it's similar to having like a Scorpio sun, where your expression, like the way that you express yourself, is very intense, and you are entertained by some dark shit. You're passionately entertained about like you enjoy seeing people fight. You could be a boxer with this, to be honest, like Mike Tyson type of vibes, where you enjoy exuding violent or aggressive energy. You're entertained by seeing guys fight. You're passionately entertained by, watching like horror movies and shit. Like you probably are a horror movie fanatic with this shit. You probably like, that thing that they have on Netflix, Fear Street. That was probably your shit, bro. But maybe even darker things, especially if this is conjuncting Pluto, then you really like the super dark things. You probably like the idea of having a date at a graveyard, just super dark shit. Like you're entertained by that, and then the way that you entertain people is by like doing dark things to them. But here's the thing, where Cancer risings like are kind of creepy in the sense that, like, because they're entertained by all things dark and gory and gloomy, it's like I don't know, they kind of, it's like, oh, I'm kind of scared of you. Because you literally, like, you even enjoy scaring people. You literally enjoy scaring people. You enjoy sitting by a corner, waiting for your mom to come in and then being like, boo! And then seeing her reaction. Like, you love that shit. You're entertained by that shit. And you're passionate about doing that. But if it's like more so on an artistic level, because fifth house also rules our artistic abilities, I feel like you are definitely somebody who's super passionate about, getting into your artistic abilities and being the greatest of all time in whatever, art outlets, creative outlets that you're into. You become super passionate about, like, if you're an artist, you become super passionate about drawing, and you draw every day, and you're obsessed with drawing, and you become very obsessive with whatever creative outlet that you're invested in, because you will be consistent with it, because Scorpio is a consistent sign. So you just become consistent about being obsessed with whatever it is that you're creatively into, that type of thing. Yeah, you guys just, Cancer risings, because you really look innocent, but you're also the type, when you joke, like, your jokes really hurt, because you also have Virgo in your third house, so when you talk, it just stings, bro. And you enjoy seeing like those reactions, like those heavy, intense emotions from people. You like seeing people react. But yeah, and also when you get angry, it's also dramatic. So you also definitely may be into the arts, like be a thespian with this placement. Definitely, I see you being a thespian with this placement and being super passionate about being an actor, and just being in the drama scene, and showing those intense emotions. So you may probably really like drama. Like, if you're a thespian, you'd probably really enjoy auditioning for plays that are like more dramatic, more melancholy, because you like expressing those kinds of emotions, rather than like the light comedies, or like the kind of plays that are more so childlike, and you know what I'm saying? Maybe not so much those, but like the more dramatic, heartfelt, intense, dramas. That's your shit. That's your shit right there, bro. But yeah, bro, that's really you. You're just super what's this, passionate about your creative outlets, and having fun. And I feel like for you, casual dating may be fun, but it's also like for you, like when you start to date, you get serious kind of quickly. Like when you like somebody and you start casually dating, it gets very intense for you super quickly, so that's your thing, bro. That's your thing. But that's you. So now we're gonna move on now to Mars in Scorpio in the 6th house now for Gemini risings, right? So 6th house represents your health, your routines, your daily habits, your daily responsibilities, how you maintain your body on a daily basis, the food that you intake, how your food affects your body. It also rules, your how your body functions on itself, and how you handle the practical, mundane activities and tasks of your daily life, right? That's the 6th house. So having Scorpio in the 6th house with Mars there, this also makes you somebody who's maybe very obsessive about your food intake, and very obsessed. Like, what's this on Mean Girls where chicks count their calories and shit? Like women, we count sometimes, like, if we go through that phase, like you just become super obsessed with the calories that you eat, super obsessed with the pills that you take. Like you literally become obsessed with doing your daily tasks. You become very it's also a situation where, like, on a daily basis, like you have to be in charge of the things that you do on a daily basis. Or maybe somebody, like, you may also have somebody who's an authority who's very obsessed with telling you what to do. So I know, like, I had a friend with a Gemini rising Scorpio 6th house, but I just feel like maybe this is a theme for all Gemini risings who have Scorpio in their 6th house, where it's like you either have a mother who's like constant, like on a daily basis, like there's someone there, that's like intensely in control over your tasks. Like they control what you do on a daily basis. Or maybe you work for like your family members and then they control what you do, how to sell the things, how to do all of that, But I think with Mars here, like if you also in that situation where you're working for your family members, those family members are aggressive as fuck. Like they are very bossy, and then they also, like, they yell at you at the slightest mistake. You just get it worse at the slightest mistakes, So then that also fuels you to do better, So you're just really obsessive and passionate about doing things in your daily life, right? And executing, like attacking and executing all your daily tasks, So also if you have like habits, if you have daily habits of smoking, like you could be like, and you could be obsessive with your daily habits. So you could be obsessed with smoking weed too. It's on that end because Scorpio rules obsessions and extremes. So you could be obsessed with your daily tasks and doing your daily habits. You could be super passionate about, as I say, because Mars and Pluto are here, so you become passionately obsessed with your daily tasks, with your eating habits, especially if you're like pescatarian, vegan, whatever, you have whatever dietary shit that you're into. Like if you're into that, then you become obsessed about studying about all the regimens and keto, and where keto came from and how you can apply it with yourself, but also with this, because it could also make you obsessive with your body. You could also like have situations where you hate your body, like, because once again Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, which is the planet of hate, and Mars. So you could completely hate your body. Like you could be somebody who you smoke 10,000 cigarettes just so you can lose weight, and then you're so mean to your body, but it's because you're obsessed with just being skinny, and then the way that you go about it is also very destructive in your way. So also on a daily basis, you may do some destructive shit. You definitely may be doing some destructive shit in your daily life just so that you can get the result that you want. And at the same time, it also may not, because Scorpio sometimes may not be satisfied. So you could even reach the weight that you have, right? And then you'll feel like, okay, the way that I need to maintain my weight is to continue doing this destructive shit. I need to continue, like, on the really dark side. Let's say you do coke, right? You could be like, okay, I lost this weight doing coke, but obviously now because you're addicted, it's just be like, okay, well, now that I've got this weight, I need to maintain the shit the same way that I got it. So let me continue doing coke, So it's just, and what, Scorpio, once again, Pluto, destructive. So you really could just be, the way that you maintain your shit, maybe in a very authoritative way, very controlling way, but also very what's this destructive way. So just be careful, bro. Remember to be kind to your body, and it's gonna be difficult to do this, but be kind to your body. Just do it the plain old fashioned way. Go to the gym here and there during the week, what I'm saying. Go for a jog. Just be nice. Damn, Pluto, be nice. Please be nice. Yo. But it's gonna be hard, obviously, because Mars is here, so this is where the aggression will come there. And I feel like what would make you angry? Oh, I forgot to do that with the other signs, but it is what it is. I feel like what would make you angry with this placement is like going through those situations where people tell you what to do on a daily basis. Like that literally fuels you, but you won't show it, But yeah, it'd be making you mad. It makes you mad, It makes you very mad. What else do I want to say about this placement? Yeah, that's about it. You just become very aggressively obsessive with your body, your daily habits, But at the same time, you become very disciplined. Like, I feel like you could be a really good manager because you'd know how to manage and maintain everything that needs to happen accordingly in that environment. So those vibes. So yeah, now we're going to move on to Mars in Scorpio in the 7th house. Wow. Whack shit. This is a very not nice placement. So 7th house represents your relationships, right? Your interpersonal relationships and your partnerships, and the partnerships that you have with people, co-workers, your parents, your siblings, whoever it is that you have a relationship with and that you interact with words on a daily basis, or regularly. People that you have intimate, close relationships, So think your parents, your siblings, your best friends. Mostly your best friends, your bestie. Like 7th house rules best friends, to be honest. And so so they're having Mars and Scorpio in the 7th house as a Taurus rising. Already, sweetie, let me tell you, already having Mars in the 7th house. I have Mars in the 7th house, bro. Our relationships are very hot. And listen, having Scorpio here, because especially if you have Pluto, if you have Mars and Pluto, if you have Mars and Pluto in your 7th house and Scorpio, oh my god, oh my fucking god, your relationships are just chaotic. But it's like you get traumatized the most from your relationships, but I think 7th house could also rule our fathers, and maybe not our father, let me say our parents. 7th house rules the relationships, the first relationships that we had with our parents. So I feel like also with this placement, it lets me know, Uguti, the relationship that you had with your parents was very, like, your parents were overly protective, very overly protective, just overwhelming, either very overwhelming or very detached. Like, they were very extreme with the way that they had raised you and the way that they had interacted with you. So then innately you also attract partners like that, partners that are extremely possessive, extremely controlling, extremely manipulative, extremely selfish, extremely possessive over you, controlling over your actions, aggressive as fuck, selfish as fuck, and they only use you for their own personal desires. Or you may be like this. You may be the culprit like this. You may be the son of a bitch that's like this. Or you may attract these sons of bitches. But either way, if you're not the one doing it, it's being done to you. And if you're the one doing it, then, whoever's there is the one that's so vulnerable and helpless. You know what I'm saying? But with Scorpio energy, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Someone is doing it. Someone is doing it. And then that'll make you feel like, yo, wow, it's better to be the prayer, the attacker, than to be the prey. What's the word? It's better to be the hunter than to be the hunted. You'll come to that conclusion. You'll be like, it's better to be the bitch than to be someone's bitch, It'll be that situation. But definitely, sweetie, I already know the very big themes in your relationships is just turmoil, control, or passiveness. Because all relationships, they start off so nice and sweet, and then the truth comes out. But when your truth comes out, or when the truths of your relationships comes out, that shit is ugly. But you may like that, especially if this shit is conjuncting your Venus. Like, you may actually like turmoil relationships, because you are all in. Like, especially with this, like, you love intensely. The way that you interact with people is very intense. You like to really merge souls with people. That's what you do. You like that shit. So that's your vibes. But yeah, guys. Also, you definitely, some of you now, you need therapy, babes. You need therapy, babes. But you're Taurus rising, so I'm pretty sure you won't want to change. So, bruh, you're just gonna have to learn with that. But definitely, you just have very turmoil relationships. Your relationships are very intense, and you get traumatized the most by your relationships. But you also just may be addicted to that type of shit, because Scorpio does rule addictions. So, mhlawumbe uyayifisa-ke, uthando lunjalo, angazi. So yeah, we'll just continue now. So having Mars and Scorpio in the eighth house. Okay, so this is really great. This is fucking phenomenal, because now you are even more powerful. Like, you push P in the most nicest way, in the most harmonious way, because Mars and Pluto are home, in the eighth house represents your desires, your secrets, things that we keep under the dark, how we transform ourselves, and how we transform ourselves out of old habits, out of old emotional habits, and the emotional connections that we have with habits. So having Mars and Scorpio in the eighth house, this makes you, like, as I say, it just adds a double whammy to your Scorpio energy. It just adds a super double whammy to your Scorpio energy, bro, because not only are you, like, extremely intense, like, you know how to like, you are definitely somebody, you know how to be in control of your sexuality, and you also know how to you know how to help other people control, like, be in control of their sexuality. Like, you can be a sex teacher or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, sex teacher. So it's for all the Aries rising. So you also already have Mars in your first house, and then you have Mars, and then your first house lord would be in your eighth house. So your personality would be expressed more in taboo shits. So you definitely somebody, you identify a lot more with taboo things, hidden things that people don't like, things that people run away from. Like, you are so welcoming of that shit. So even, like, supernatural things, paranormal things, you fuck with that. You like learning about that, being into seance. I think that's what they call it, like seance type shit. Just scary, creepy shit. Like, you like that, and you like to, identify yourself with those kinds of things, because you understand that a lot of the times power comes from the things that we run away from, because you have an awareness of your own darkness, especially if you have a sun conjuncting your Mars. You're overly aware of your darkness, and you welcome your darkness, and you welcome the darkness of other people too. So you don't run away from turmoil. You don't shy away from intense emotions, intense situations. You don't run away and shy away from life-threatening things. You may even like adrenaline things, bungee jumping, things like kind of risking your life. You enjoy that, because in those experiences you realize, like, oh my god, there's really nothing to be afraid of. There's really nothing to fear but fear itself. I feel like that saying came from somebody with Scorpio in the eighth house. But definitely, this just makes you super aggressive. Like, your sexuality is very aggressive, and you like aggressive people too, because those type of people turn you on. You may not necessarily lack, you may not lack the, like, super soft, sensitive people who don't have, like, an edge to them, because you very edgy. Oh my god, like, Billy from Stranger Things. Yeah, super edgy, super aggressive, you know what I'm saying? Like, just very hardcore. Somebody punches you, then you laugh because you're gonna punch harder, that type of thing. But yeah, man, you guys are just super powerful, like, super you own your sexuality, like, you own everything that's dark about you. You don't run away from that, because you love that. You love your own darkness, but people hate you. Like, definitely you are one person that's hated, but you may even grow to enjoy that, because at least you feel like, okay, wow, people hate me, and that's an honest emotion, and you would rather have people hate you honestly than people fake love you. Oh my god, give me a Grammy, guys. Okay, we're gonna move on now to Mars and Scorpio in the ninth house. So ninth house, represents your faith, your spirituality, your philosophy, how you view the world in a philosophical way, how you gain experiences, and how you gain wisdom through your experiences, but really your morals and your moral systems, and how you navigate the world morally. So having Mars and Scorpio in the ninth house as a Pisces rising, this makes you somebody, you just experience a whole bunch of dark shit. A bunch of hidden dark shit. Like, you experience a lot of the extremes, and you're very wise about dark shit. You're very wise about, like, taboos and dealing with spirits. You're very wise about how to manipulate. You're very wise about that, and you're Pisces rising, so that's even in your personality, bruh. You wise about, like, okay, on one end, it makes you also very passionate about exploring, and make you passionate about gaining experiences about other people's cultures, because ninth house rules other people's cultures, traveling, getting to see how other people from the other side of the world live life. So it also rules travel, so you may be very passionate about traveling. But if we can't travel, then we travel in other ways. Drugs are also a way to travel, because you get to experience different realms, spiritual realms, so you can explore those spiritual realms. So you may be very experienced and very wise about how to, what I'm saying, experience those dark spiritual realms. You'd be very wise about how to experience some dark shit. So as I say, you're very wise about how to be, like, manipulative, how to be controlling. You know the rules of how to do all of that shit. This is makes you very intuitive too. But it is so, like, if you were raised religiously, then it could make you extremely religious. So then you would be the mother that forces your religion down your kids' throats. And you're also a Pisces rising, so ooh, child, just a lot of Jupiter vibes. So, and if you weren't the one that was doing that, then your mom probably forced you to be in religion. Just forced you going to Bible study every Wednesday. Sundays you go to church. Mondays you have mass. Tuesdays you doing this. If you probably the mother that's gonna be very forceful, and even if it's not church shit, like if you on your spiritual shit, you very passionate about, like, if and you're watching astrology videos. I'm pretty sure you're extremely obsessed with watching astrology videos, obsessive about just your emotional connections to your morality, your spiritual practices. You just become obsessive about those things. But at the end of the day, you're gonna be very wise, because you're gonna if you have this in Jupiter, if you have your Jupiter in Scorpio in the ninth house, yes, you probably have a lot. You may be even wise about sex, just how to have sex, different ways of how to have sex. But you just need to be careful, because you might catch them STIs, STDs, HIVs, all those abbreviations. So, but you're definitely wise about some dark shit. Like, you're wise about the taboo and the occult. Without a doubt, you're very wise about the occult and the taboo. But because you're wise, you might also use your wisdom. Because with wisdom and power comes some greed and horrible shit. So you may use your wisdom to also throw spirits at people. 'Cause somebody may make you mad, and then you just know how to manifest something bad to happen to them. Like, amasangoma in South Africa, we have amasangoma like bothakathi. Definitely somebody with this placement. So yeah. Definitely. And then moving on now to Mars and Scorpio in the 10th house for all my Aquarius risings. So Mars and Scorpio in the 10th house, you guys are very obsessed with having a career. You become you become so, like, you get blinded by just having a career and having a name for yourself. I have Scorpio in my 10th house, but I don't have Mars. I don't have Mars in Scorpio in my 10th house. But I know someone who does. And it's also just a situation where, like, it's also, you just get blindsided by, because listen, you might start a project, and then you may be super passionate and excited about, oh yay, I really love, excuse me. Okay, so even with this astrology, like, as an example, right? As a Mars and Scorpio in the 10th house, you may start your own astrology page. And then the intention for you starting it is because you really enjoy teaching. You really enjoy learning as you teach, But then along the way, you become very obsessed. And you become obsessed with your reputation and getting a reputation. Because 10th house rules your reputation. It rules, your career and your status, your public image. So somewhere along the line, you kind of lose sight of, the intentions as to why you even began, because then you become obsessed about having recognition. You become obsessed about having a public image. You become obsessed about being known and being popular, because 10th house rules popularity as well as the 11th house. But maybe 11th house rules, like, the people that know you, But with the 10th house, you just become obsessed about being popular, you know? But then at the same time, it's like having Mars and Scorpio in the 10th house. You are somebody who is known as very intense. People know you as a very either spiritual person, if your house lord here is in the ninth house, or 12th house even, you know. But yeah, you just become very obsessive over your career, you know, and you become very obsessive and driven to have a career. Like, you guys are very career driven, you know, but you become like a business shark, and like some real shit. Like, you very cutthroat, and you also enjoy taking risks. Like, you feel like, okay, risks are necessary in order to somehow transform something, you know. But at the same time, it's also a situation where, because I also know this, I have Scorpio in my 10th house, where your career changes so often. You went from one career to another, or you did something, like you were passionate about having a career, and then something happened and it just got destroyed. Either you destroyed it, or something happened where maybe something like someone hacked your account, they deleted all your shit, boom, that got transformed. You know what I'm saying? But something happens where something ends. But it's also a situation where you don't mind leaving you don't mind leaving a career job, especially if you feel like you have no control over it. Because with this, you will want full control over your career. You don't want no one to help assist you with none of that shit. And if they do assist you, you are in control of telling them exactly what to do, and you don't want any suggestions from them. You don't want to compromise nothing. You don't want to compromise shit. And it would make you pissed off if somebody tries to do that, you know, because then that would also make you suspicious. Like, what are you trying to do? You trying to take over my business, bitch? You know, there goes Pluto. There goes the P. There goes the paranoia coming, you know. But it is what it is, you know. But it's just like you become very obsessive and very passionate about having a career, really. So definitely, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have all that energy to build a career, it's gonna happen, you know. But along the way, it's just gonna be some fuck shit, bro. It's gonna be some dying, some turmoils. But even that's gonna make you even more passionate about having a career, you know, and keep going. Because you're gonna keep going, especially if you decided that, yeah, this is it. This is it. I'm not changing my mind. And then you go ham, my boy. Then you go crazy, you know. But that's great. That's really great, you know. So yeah. Yeah. Having Mars and Scorpio in the 11th house, right? So 11th house rules your associations, your acquaintances, social media, people that you meet on social media, you know, fans, a whole bunch of global people, like the masses, the demographics, you know. It rules over technology, you know. It rules over like studying aliens and all, like just researching like science, what's the word? Yeah, researching, but experimentation. Yes, 11th house rules experimentation. So having Mars and Scorpio in the 11th house as a Capricorn rising, right? You guys are very passionate like, you could really have a very large social media following, you know, and it's gonna be extreme. It's either your social media thing is very low, or you're very secretive on social media, especially because you're Capricorn rising. So you may be very low, like you secretive as fuck. Like, you don't know any, like, you only may want your friends or people that you know to follow you. Or the extreme side to that is that, like, a whole bunch of people know you. Like, you have a very large following, but there's no in between. You know, you either have a very low following or a very high following, you know. But at the same time, it's like you become super passionate. Also similar to, you know, the third house, you become passionate about experimenting, about learning about, you know, broad, weird Aquarius type shit, you know. Become very you could also be like an engineer. I really see you being an engineer with this. So you become passionate about experimenting about how a car is made, you know, and how you can make your own car, and then how you can capitalize off of that, and you know, who you can associate with that can help you with this experiment and making this shit come to life, you know. But I feel like, yeah, on the really negative end, you could also associate yourself with people who end up really just like fucking with you, you know, like just really, like, you just associate yourself with people who are so bad for you. And the thing is like, you don't even know these people, you know. But you may be associated with some crazy ass motherfucker, like some selfish people who would throw you under the bus like that, you know. Or you could be associated with some super powerful people. Yeah, you could be associated with very powerful people. But I feel like also with this situation, like, you also may be somebody who has issues with keeping friends. You know, you have issues with keeping long-term friends because your friends come and go. And your friends with Mars here, probably have backstabbing situations, and that also makes you very untrusting to people. So the opposite end of that is having no friends at all. You don't want no friends. Like, you don't want any friends because you already been through the whole phase of people betraying you, people only using you because of for their own selfish needs, or being in a group of friends and then they end up like gagging up on you, some shit like that. Or, but it's just something like, it's just something with people. Like, you always have issues with people. So that also makes you somebody that feels like, well, fuck everybody. That type of thing. And you're also Capricorn rising, so I mean, come on. So then you turn more into social media, and then you become obsessive over, interacting with other pages and people that have been through similar things, and enjoy learning about the similar topics that you enjoy learning. Become obsessive with learning about that type of shit. But if it's not social media, because maybe I also see somebody not being so active on the social media, then it's just really, you become obsessed with studying. Like, you really obsessively study a whole bunch of broad topics. So you probably have like maybe 2 degrees in your pocket type shit, because you really enjoy studying that. And then the groups that you would be in would be study groups, and then that's the only time you're with people. Other than that, you just like, I'm good, I'll be with my mom. I'll be with my mommy, that type of situation. But that's you, bro. But just so you're very opinionated with this, extremely fucking opinionated. Like, but it's also, I feel like you could be very powerful in the public as well. Like, when you speak, a whole bunch of people shut the fuck up and listen to you because a real nigga speaking. A real nigga is speaking. Guys, yeah, now we're gonna jump to the last sign, the last house, Mars and Scorpio in the 12th house. Right, so 12th house represents your dreams, illusions, isolations, your hidden self, the hidden you, sleep, the dreams that you have, what you dream about. What else? Just drugs also, getting addicted, addiction. You know what I'm saying? Because addiction does make you isolate yourself from people. So it also rules addiction too. 12th house rules addiction, hospitals, jails, isolation, all the things that isolate you. So having Mars and Scorpio in the 12th house for Sagittarius risings. Oh my God. You listen, I already know your dreams are violent. Yes. And if you have Pluto here, your dreams are violent. Your dreams are scary violent. Like, and then it also just makes you somebody who, like, if you are an alcoholic, it's also very extreme. Because I dated a dude who has his moon in Scorpio in the 12th house. And that nigga was, or is, I don't know. But when I was dating him, he had told me stories about him being an alcoholic and shit. And I suspect that, the alcoholism comes from your intuition just being very overwhelming. Having an overwhelming intuition, like, because you're very sensitive and previewed and open to all the energies. I mean, supernatural ones, human ones, animals, trees, the air. Like, you're just so intensely open to these things. You feel everything at such a deeper level. Like, Scorpios feel things deeply, but having it in the 12th house, that shit just makes it even deeper, because it's not only in your subconscious, but it's in your unconscious mind. But it's a situation where, like, you definitely become an angry drunk. You an angry drunk. And you may even like being drunk because you like being so honest about your intensity, because when you're not drunk, it's like more so hidden. And even though you are a Sag rising, so you be expressive and goofy, it's like at the back of your mind. But it's because you're also Sagittarius, and Sagittarius also have alcohol issues, Pisces, Sag, alcohol issues. So you may even like that because, when you're drunk, you feel like, yeah, and I can tell you the truth, huh? And then the truth of your hidden self is that you're very intense, You could also be like, it may not even be an angry drunk, but definitely you are an angry drunk, an aggressive drunk. But if you're an emotional drunk too, like, it's aggressive, like, you cry aggressively and excessively and just wildly, And then, like, the next day you just pretend nothing happened. That's it. You pretend nothing happened, But yeah, because it's the 12th house. So 12th house is like it's the blind spot. We don't really notice that. We hide that part. 12th house is the house where, it's really, as I said, it's our hidden self. So your anger is also hidden. So, and then it expresses itself in your dreams. It expresses itself, when you're all alone. So then when you're angry, you're the one that's screaming in the mirror. You scream in the mirror, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just your anger is hidden. Or it could be a situation where you're not even aware of the things that trigger you. You're only aware of the things that trigger you maybe once you're drunk or on some substances. So you also may opt to stay away from them, because with this, you're either all the way doing it or you're not doing it at all. But it could also, if you start with an addiction, it's obviously going to be very difficult. But for you, it's even more difficult, because 12th house also rules like being dependent on substances and being dependent on escaping. So then your way of escaping your 6th house, which is what, Taurus is already an indulging shit, you know. So either way, babes, if you're doing drugs on a daily basis because Taurus is in your 6th house, it's going to be hard to break the habit. So just don't do it. But you're a Sag rising, so you just be optimistic about a whole bunch of shit. So I don't know, bro. Just work on that shit, bro. Work on that shit. And then you have a Pisces 4th house. So also your family members may. Yeah, I see this placement. Yeah, bruh, just stay away from drugs. You especially, you need to stay away from drugs. Stay away from alcohol. Stay away from enjoying alcohol. Stay away. At least Fasazole. Smoke weed at least. Drink some CBD tea. Because if it gets there, it's going to be hard to stop getting there. Because you'll form habits there. And even though those habits will destroy you and fuck with your dreams, your psyche, your unconscious. And you are very, like, intuitive. You're very, very intuitive. You're like a psychic, bro. And as I said, you know people just by looking at them. You know things just by looking at them. You literally are so fucking intuitive. Like, it's hard to lie to you, you know, because you feel everything. You feel everyone all the time. You know the truth about everything and everyone all the time. And then it just may be overwhelming for you to always be in that state, you know, especially because it's Mars here. So you innately sense out people's intentions, and then you even sense out why they even have those intentions. And, you know, you just go so back and deep as to why. So, and you're always doing this. So it could be very overwhelming, as I say, especially if you have your moon squaring this shit, or if you have your Mars squaring Neptune with this shit. Oh my God. Oh my God, babes. It's definitely giving mental patient also. You probably definitely somebody who would visit a mental institution. But you may even like being there, to be honest. It's giving Girl Interrupted vibes, to be honest. To be honest, you know. And you also may be fascinated by dark shit too, like supernatural, paranormal, dark shit too, you know. But that's you. But definitely your passions, your anger, they're all hidden. They're all hidden, they're tucked under you, and they only come out when you're in the mirror screaming at yourself. Oh my God, guys. Anyway, that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Next video, we're going to do Mars in Sagittarius, and we're going to do that through the houses as we do all the time. So check that out. Don't forget to, if you would like a reading from me, you can book a reading from me. I am open to readings. I've always been. And I'll see you in my next video, guys. And to all my Mars and Scorpios, shit, go take a bath. Go do some self-care, bro. Just remind yourself that you are the shit and you deserve to feel good. Okay, bye, guys. Bye.